You're listening to an episode of Flag Points. Yes, that's right. This is episode 66 of Flag Points. We've dusted it off and pulled it out of the vault of 3D Joes. No, I'm kidding. This is G.I. Joburg. My name is Steve. And the other two gentlemen in this podcast, I'm sure, did not get the bit that I was trying to do at the top of the show. Hello,
totally
Paul.
Got the bit that you meant. Hello, guys.
Hello.
The Flag Points podcast. What do you think we are? Troglodytes.
Big fans. Big fans. Yes. Flag Points. Man, they should go back into business. Would be nice. Anyways, how the hell are you guys?
We're doing very, very well. I'm very happy to be here with you guys on the anniversary of the release of Independence Day, 4th of July.
Oh,
it's
that's
absolutely
cool
amazing.
movie.
Congratulations to all Americans. I hope you enjoy your favorite movie.
Yes,
Go
yes,
quietly into the night. Sorry.
No, very good, Rob. Thank you for sneaking it in there. Yes, the title of the episode is Flag Points. It's not just ironically a name of another podcast. It is this weekend past the Independence Day celebrations, July the 4th in the United States of America. Congratulations, America, on becoming a nation and becoming independent of those damn redcoats. I'm now currently in the land of Australia, which very much happily remained a land of the redcoats. But hey, everyone had their own different reception to the British rule and the fall of the empire. I know South Africa, we had an independence war of our own, didn't we now, gents?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did the concentration camps there. So.
Yes, and guerrilla warfare and commandos, all these terms were apparently originated in the Boer War. But it's now no longer called the Boer War, it's called the South African War. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I didn't.
Yeah, and very interestingly enough, I was watching a film, and it was set in, I think, in like the 1950s or something like that, and they called it the South African War, which is very PC, which is very like not
It's
1950s
of now,
way.
but it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
of what they would have said back then.
Yes, like.
Exactly. So I was like, this is cheesy, man. Like whoever wrote the script was not hip to the fact that calling it the South African War is a very recent thing, because calling it the Boer War or the Anglo-Boer War only takes a cognizance of the fact that it was the Brits versus the Afrikaners. But actually, there were other factions involved in the Boer War, English-speaking South Africans and Black South Africans and South Africans of color. So calling it the South African War is a bit more inclusive. And yes, this is an inclusive time. But anyways, we're talking enough politics. Let's talk some more politics. Gentlemen, something occurred to me about Independence Day. Like, do you feel any kind of nationalism? Like, is there ever a point where you're swept up in some like serious flag waving and, beating the old drum and singing the national anthem? Like, is there an equivalent in South Africa? I don't think there is.
I just love that part where you see the downed UFO and then there's all the people and it looks like the Maasai. And I'm like, yes, Africa, yes.
That definitely makes me, get very nationalistic in that moment.
I get a tear in my eye.
The citizen of planet Earth, saving.
Yeah, no, let it just go on record.
Hey man,
That
if you watch the sequel to Independence Day, you know that like the ship that crash landed into the African continent, like they waged a ground conflict against that ship.
Yeah,
that's the movie I wanted to see.
Yeah, that sounds
fucking
badass.
Hemsworth brother bullshit.
Yeah, that was awful. that would have been a much better movie.
That was dancing on the grave of a good Independence Day film.
And just say that I absolutely loved that movie when it came out in cinema. I actually watched it twice in cinema, and it blew me away. I just remember sitting there, and
like
your hearing is just so good as a kid, and that film is just like Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum. One of the cool kids call it ID4.
No, amazing. Surely that was retrospective. Like people started calling it ID4 because calling it Independence Day. What? That was
No,
part
we
of the
called-
marketing.
We called it ID4, dude. In the card and comic
Oh.
shop I worked in, you called it Independence Day. You were lame. You were like,
Fuck, you are
I'm gonna go
cooking.
check out ID4. Have you checked out ID4 yet? Some people were like, what's ID4? You're like, whatever. Green thumb. There's a goal in the shop. Everybody shut up.
All right. Well, how's this for cool credibility? Like, this is such a big event movie. My whole family went to see it together.
Oh, that's so cool.
I know, right? My father, mother, brother, sister, and myself went to see Independence Day, and it
Lekker.
blew our minds. Like, we were buzzing about it. The very next time we actually did that as a family was The Matrix. So, notice
Wow,
the
dude.
trend. Yeah, fun times.
That is
It's
so cool,
quite
man.
an event. Yeah, it was definitely an incredible movie. I still think it's very good. I have seen it since.
And a sad irony is that there were no toys for it in the shops when that movie came out. Remember, like there were no toys for it here in South Africa, and there were toys for it. We just never got them here.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I always wanted one of those aliens. I always thought they looked really interesting.
Yeah, they look absolutely amazing. But talking about
Bro,
the-
hell with that. I want one of the F-18s, big time.
Oh, those
When I
jets were
got back from the movie, what I kept playing out in my bedroom was with my Ring Raider jets, like that moment when they realize that it's got a defensive shield and they all pull up. So I used my cupboard, which is this, a very imposing structure to however old I was. I was 11 or 12. Anyways, I used my jets and they had to pull up and like just skim this cupboard. Some of them turn into fireballs, but a few successful ones. My favorite ones. I had this orange MiG-29 Fulcrum. I loved it because it had 6 missiles sculpted on the underside of the wings, which is an interesting detail for a Ring Raider. A lot of them didn't have sculpted missiles, but this one did. So he was my favorite. Anyways, I'm getting way off track. Rob, what were you going to say?
I don't know. I was going to say, I mean, we were talking about the movie, but when we were in the States, we actually, if I remember correctly, we got to see the Marines practicing for the July 4th celebrations in Washington.
It was some memorial. I mean, there was an
I thought it was
anthem.
for July 4th because it was
Yeah.
so close. Maybe I'm wrong, but probably I am wrong.
No, but it was still amazing to watch.
It was still amazing to see kind of like a little bit of oh, it is a welcoming party for us. That's true, but I thought so.
Yeah,
But
But it
totally.
was
G.I.
amazing to
Joburg
see
has
some
arrived.
proper pomp and circumstance. I mean, even though it was a practice, I mean, there's still hundreds of people turned out to check it out, and it was very, very interesting to kind of see I don't know, like proper like nationalism, I suppose, like pride in your country, and to see it
If
live.
you want to check out this particular event, we have chronicled it in our Road to JoeCon Part 3. Hey, the
Yeah.
exfiltration.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Check
And
it out.
also-
Leave it a like while you're there.
And if you don't mind leaving a like on this video, that'd be grand too.
That would be so fantastic. And while you're giving
Check some
out
mail.
likes and checking out videos, guys, Zazel Phoenix released a fantastic video. You guys, well, obviously you guys know you were there at the premiere. It happened. I literally just watched it now. I got about halfway and then we had to start the show. It is so good. Like I love it. I just wanted to go on record and I want Zazel to hear it. Dude, it was so cool. Like everything I've seen so far has been so great. I love the voices, the feeling that it definitely feels like it's happening on a ring, the lighting, everything. Oh, it's great. Love it.
Yep. We got to
Did
get
an
him back on the
amazing
show to
job on
talk
it.
about episode 1 of the Slaughter Wrestling Championships.
Heck yeah.
For the first Nemesis Enforcer.
Oh, yeah.
So
No,
did
it's
you
good
guys
fun.
get anything? Did you guys get anything new? Cool.
Hell fucking yeah.
Oh, yeah, tell us about it.
I got some new toys, guys. Excellent. Excellent. Here they come. I got Toll Booth.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is a...
Hey. Young man.
Speaking of Zazel, he has an extra toll booth. He's got a bridge layer and 2 toll booths, and you kind of don't need 2 toll booths, do you, Zaze? He let me have
Complete
one.
with sterner eyes, this bot says.
Oh, guys, I love this figure. I don't really have a use for him yet. Like, construction was never a play pattern that dominated my time with G.I. Joe, but he's definitely a thing. Look, I've actually noticed an error on yojo.com when they say that his legs are the same as Duke and Gung Ho. That is patently untrue. His leg that has a pistol holster is not the Gung Ho pistol holster, it's the Major Blood one. And the other side, I'm not sure where. I think a lot of his parts are original. I failed to see where his boots come from. They have better detail than Gung Ho's boots. So, who knows? But one thing that I adore about this figure is certainly his gormless expression. Hey! I mean, that is the face of a character. He has this great cleft in the top of his lip and a cleft chin. You know, he looks like a guy who works construction, okay? You know, he's got a big old open shirt that has paint that is probably faded due to the age. And looks like he's wearing some kind of like, I don't know, like flesh-colored bodysuit. The dog tags are picked out in silver. Guys, this is a
I got a million lines of phone cable to do here. I got a bunch of you guys crawling in my ass like a bunch of butt monkeys. What do you expect me to do here, huh? Hey, Hoagie.
Oh, it's the guy from Die Hard who's like wearing the hard hat, and he's like, I gotta pull the whole block if you want this grid taken out. Like, it's that guy from the telephone company or the power company or whatever. Anyways, Tollbooth. Yeah, it's interesting that he exists in a G.I. Joe team at all, because outside of driving the bridge layer, I just don't know. He opens up the door to like what G.I. Joe really needs, which is just a whole lot of support characters and support crew and staff. Like, he's kind of that, but there's only one of him. Anyway, he's not the only thing I got. I got Quinn. Also, a very kind donation from our buddy Zazel. This is the comic pack O-Ring Quinn. Comes with a weasel skull necklace. He's largely Big Ben's body parts, but then a new head sculpt. The head sculpt has a sculpted furry collar to it, which kind of prevents you from using the head again, which is sad because, like, anyone who's familiar with Quinn's comic book appearances know that he spends far more time in sort of khakis, shorts and shirt, like a safari suit, than he does in his cold weather gear. I mean, I know he's Quinn, the Eskimo, ha 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 ha, but he, in his cold weather gear, he's kind of limited to that environment. But it is a top-rate head sculpt.
What is he looking at?
Oh, he's got that faraway gaze in his eyes.
Praying to the Weasel Lord, as Bart said.
Dude, he's full of great lines, and I'm doing a reread of all 1 to 101 issues of the Marvel run, and Quinn has some fantastic lines. And a few, like, metaphysical bullshit lines as well, but whatever.
I love that metaphysical bullshit side of him, though.
You do? Yeah.
I do. You know I do.
It takes all kinds of people to make up the world, and Quinn was that kind of, ethereal touch. Proficient soldier, but also, like, the poetry of, like, a warrior shaman kind of thing. Anyways, bonus, getting the Marduce along with that Quinn, because finally I can give that gun to its rightful owner, Roadblock. Roadblock just doesn't look right without it. So I'm glad
I agree.
I have that gun in my possession, and I gave it straight to a Roadblock 1986 version 2 Roadblock, because as interesting as that silver gun is, it is scaled up too much, and it ain't his classic iron. But I wanted to say that the problem with poor old Quinn and his new head sculpt is it's tiny.
Oh, wow.
And this is a problem that a lot of those comic 3-pack new heads on old O-ring bodies have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them had additional sculpted parts which kind of made their sizing a bit better. Like Serpentor then comes with a kind of a helmet that goes on top of his smaller noggin. The Fred 7 that they put in the battle suit Cobra Commander armor has a removable helmet, which also hides the noggin. But then on figures like Scarlet, who came in a kind of a martial arts gi, which is just a reuse of Jinx's mold in white, the head is a peanut size. And the same is true of poor old Quinn, because it really then begins to hurt his stature, because the small head... And let's face it, guys, like the cute thing about... Well, not cute. The thing that feels right in O-ring G.I. Joes is like the heads are slightly too big, but it's okay. Like, we always overlook that. Like, to size a head anatomically proportionately correct starts feeling wrong. So you put him in a lineup of other Joes, and all of a sudden, he looks very out. Yeah. Anyways, moving on from Quinn, the last thing I got, a little Father's Day gift to myself, the Silver Mirage motorbike, which is...
Part 2.
Exactly, my second one. My first one was courtesy of good old Dan the Man Szymanski. Very kind donation. He actually sent it to me in pieces, which I know is the natural state to find Silver Mirages, because they're model kits and they're quite frail and they break apart into millions of pieces. But to be able to assemble one fresh from all of its constituent parts was a big thrill. He also included the blueprints, so I mean, power to that man. That was a great, great gift. It wasn't just a toy. It was like the experience of piecing one together from back in the day, from 1985. So stands to reason that I've got a very big soft spot for this toy, in spite of its fragility. And having encountered it as an adult makes it less frail to me. I don't play with it as roughly, so I guess I don't see people's criticisms as much as or I haven't experienced the criticisms of this as much as people who had it as a kid and it instantly broke it would have. But this one had some issues, and it allowed me to get it for a song, 10 Aussie dollars.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Like $100. Just
Some of those issues, the missiles not being included.
No missiles, which I'm okay with, because I really just like the bike, to be honest. The sidecar, take it or leave it. The sidecar doesn't have its lamp. It doesn't have the handlebars, which are frequently missing. They just pop out at a moment's notice. But I don't have a problem with it. For those of you watching on YouTube, you see that I've got the very fitting duo of Crazy Legs and Sneak Peek on the bike. And I think that color scheme really, really rocks.
Yeah.
And if you photograph it from the right angle, you don't even notice that the handlebars aren't there. Something that I did take issue with is the fact that it has been glued together. Oopsie. And it was problematic because the front forks were the wrong way around. The brakes were in the front edge. But I was able to rotate it around. It's not an easy thing to do, but it can be done. You just have to kind of squash the fork a little bit past the bars.
You do get products out there in hobby shops. I will send you a link because I haven't got time to try and put it on the show now. But it's designed to remove glue. So
yeah, look, part of me is also kind of happy that it is glued. I don't want to go messing with chemical products on this toy. I mean, I'm sure it might have a result, but like I was able to do it without ungluing it. The other problem, and well, a reason why I thought that this was such a steal, so it's not a problem per se. When you add glue, it starts becoming a problem, was the back suspension was unbroken. Those of you who know Silver Mirage know that the back wheel has a bar that runs into the interior of the bike, and that bar extends into a kind of a groove. And that creates suspension because the bar basically creates a kind of a flexion point that presses up against the two walls of this groove and allow you to kind of have a bit of spring to the back. It's plastic bending. And of course, bending plastic prone to breakage. and that's why that suspension point is often broken. So my previous Silver Mirage, it was broken, but I fashioned a piece of paper clip, and that created a far stronger piece of suspension. If you want to know how I did this, well, we have a Silver Mirage review. I'll link it to you in the description below.
Go check that out. Yeah,
and it works a hell of a lot better than the original plastic solution, unfortunately, which I find to be woefully inadequate, because it's so flexy that the back wheel then kind of goes too far into the housing, and it rubs the wheel arch.
So you're hoping that this one breaks very soon.
Look, I'm happy to have an unbroken piece, so I'm thrilled, and it was well worth the price of admission. But I'm saying now that if you do encounter these with broken suspension bars, that's not a deal breaker. There's a solution that is better than having an unbroken toy. So link in the description below. I'll take that hit. Also, the problem with it being glued was that the plastic bar that extends into the body was seated in the wrong place. It was seated, it was seated like, I think, below or no, above where it should be. So I had to kind of pry the back open and then kind of reseat it. Anyways, this is boring. I've had enough talking or listening to my own voice. But that's my new shit, guys. Forgive me for being excited, because it's been a while. Dude,
but it's worth getting excited for, man. You got some cool stuff. My new stuff is actually super recent. I actually picked it up today because I managed to sneak off and go to the mall. I bought the last one.
And the masters of the podcast.
He-Man, nice. I bought the last one. He-Man. so this.
And what kind of He-Man is that, Paul?
It's Battle Armor He-Man. And what's so great about it is that it's part of the new wave that is starting to hit the local stores. So it's Battle Armor He-Man. There's Buzzsaw Hordak, which I didn't get. And then there's also the Battle Armor Skeletor, which I didn't need to get because I've already got a Skeletor. And I think the first release Skeletor, in my opinion, is much cooler looking. However, what I wanted to mention about this is, firstly, this He-Man was hidden. Okay, it was like hidden all the way behind the other toys.
So someone actually deliberately put it there. Oh, yep. No.
Yeah, so like that's one of the things. Like I know this sounds terrible, but that's one of the things that made me buy it. That's what added urgency. That somebody else is coming back for this toy. I was like, haha, it is mine.
My bro, Masters of the Universe is the best. You must understand. Okay?
Yeah,
I
must hide it.
That's the good shit.
And the cool thing, and then the other thing,
G.I. Joe cock. No man, G.I. Joe's cock. Masters of the Universe. Yeah, it's awesome.
All the way. So like the other thing about this is that it's kind of like a bit of an accessory pack. So like, because I've got the original He-Man that Cody sent me, but I like the appeal of having the classic head to switch it out with, which is pretty cool. So that was nice. And having an extra weapon holding hand weapon holding hand is a great addition. But yeah, it's just cool to have this. And then initially, when I bought it, I thought that sword was the complete sword, but it's still a half sword to be combined with Skeletor's sword for Castle Grayskull. So that was a bit of a loss. It's 250 Rand. It's like nothing as far as toys go. And this big yellow thing here, I thought it'd be fun because I was like, oh, okay, that's probably for the Wind Raider that's coming later, or I could put it on the Sky Sled. But it actually turns out you can slot that onto the sword, and then it looks like you've given something like a Mursa Enema. So, but I've got to say this is worth mentioning, and it's actually a pretty smart design on that accessory, that fireball accessory. The opening at the bottom. So it's designed if you put both swords together that you can put it in there and it fits snugly, right? But if you turn the sword and you don't have both halves, you can actually turn the sword and put it in there because they've got two different types of slots. It's like a diamond shape, but the one edge of the diamond is like slightly broader than the other. And so you can put in a single half sword and it doesn't wobble or whatever. So if you're somebody who hasn't got Skeletor, you can still get a fun out of this effect instead of it being wobbly and crappy.
So whether you're single sorting it or double sorting it, it's still tight, my bro.
It's still tight. Yes. But it's a cool consideration. I mean, you got to admit, it's a pretty good consideration from the toy makers to have included that. Anyway, so that's my new stuff. And then when I got to the counter, and this is the first time this has ever happened in my life, the guys
it rang up as 150 rand.
No. I've had cool stuff like that happen to me before. No.
Well, that makes you a criminal, Paul. You should have said, no, the tag price is 250 rand, so I'll pay the extra 100.
Dude, I'm a guy who got a Chemical Brothers DVD for 60 cents because I thought I was buying it for 30 rand. And then they scanned it and they're like, when the price is wrong, I'm like, oh no, is it not 30 rand? And she's like, no, it's 60 cents. I'm like, really? Are you serious? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, can't I just pay you the 30 rand? She's like, no, you have to pay me the 60 cents. So I was like, cool. Yeah, that's happened. And then I've had it.
They're really just cheating Thomas and whatever his name is. The Chemical Brothers. There was an episode of Superstore. I think it was the first episode. The guy's like learning the job, and it's a department store. So he like enters something in the system and like basically reduces everything by basically a couple of cents.
Oh God,
appliances and stuff. Yeah, so everyone's like running out the door with like crazy shit marked down.
So anyways. So Battle Armor He-Man, hey. But anyway, so I get to the counter at Toys R Us, and like I said, this crazy thing happens that has never happened to me before. The guy behind the counter goes, oh, that's really cool. I see that you like He-Man. A lot of people like He-Man. Would you like to be on our list? I'm like, what list? He's like, yeah, I'll call you when the new stock comes in. I'm like, what? I was like, this has never happened. I'm like, yes, please. And then while I'm paying for this, they look at my girlfriend, they look at Celia, and they go, Shem, how do you live with this guy? And she's like, he's awesome, dude.
In bed.
Yes.
Got a big cock. That's it. Makes up for a lot.
I'm not going to say stuff like that on a radio show. I'm just going to say what my girlfriend said. Anyway, so yeah, I had to mention that, that I actually got some outstanding service from the Toys R Us here locally, which is pretty amazing. So anyway, thank you, Battle Armor He-Man, with your Achanyo Cray face. Look at that face. Yes, I'm going to grab my Stokey and I'm going to smack you. Anyway.
That's bad news. That is rape, and escape. Amen. Yo, amen.
And while I've got this, Stephen, you showed off this really cool roadblock. And I just thought it would be a good idea to mention this guy, Mezco's 112 roadblock.
Now, Paul, you've been itching to talk Mezco forever, and I think I've either blocked you into oblivion and you've kind of gone cool to the idea, or what, you've just forgotten? Like, when was that kept on getting shuffled off the agenda? You wanted to talk about Mezco Destro.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And what happened?
But I just think it's just become old news now.
Okay, guys. New news.
To everyone who can't get enough of that scale in their lives, well, there's a whole new price range for you.
For only $95, you can get yourself this handsome mofo.
And he's not a 12-inch figure. This is going to fit in with your classified 6-inch guys. And it's an incredible roadblock with so much stuff. Maybe that justifies the price point, actually. I mean, if you consider, classified stuff, which, I mean, a lot of people have lamented that because it's a Hasbro-owned property, you really should be getting more pack-ins than, the stuff that you would get with Marvel Legends, which they have to pay royalties on, or Star Wars, which they have to pay royalties on. Anyways.
Yeah.
So Mezco is giving you that bang for your buck.
And are they giving you bang? I mean, if you do not care about this roadblock figure, well, is this the accessory pack for you? It comes. Look at this Mardeuce. It's great. Is it a Mardeuce? It's Mardeuce-ish. Nice little Beretta there. He's got his waistcoat from version 2 as well as a bandolier, so you can switch him out between version 2 and version 1 if you want. He's got a nice sharp knife. He's got that roadblock grin. He's great. And I'm also thinking of like Jim, for example, who I'm sure would love these head sculpts as well, just for customizing figures. It even comes with a cool helmet, which if you really want to, you can paint in the Tiger Force colors. Or if you're me. But this is awesome. I'm really, really intrigued by this toy. Like, it's so great. I still want Destro, but this is so great. This is gonna kill me. Anyway, I just had to show everybody because, like,
well, you know, different strokes for different folks. Yeah, I mean, it looks absolutely amazing. But you know, as Bart says, to buy that you better be on Mezco because you're high.
Although I did make kind of, you know when you make the promises to yourself. I have made a promise to myself. I have said, like, there will be like 5 characters I'll try to get my hands on over time if they do them well. And Destro is one of them. Roadblock is still on the board for deciding. But it'd be cool to see which characters they do, and maybe they will end up doing some cool stuff that might surprise me. I mean, I'm always down for Mezco doing some damn good looking ninjas. If this is what the gear looks like already, then I can just imagine them doing a ninja figure like Storm Shadow or something. Wow. Anyway, I just had to show that.
I wonder, really, I mean, things being the way they are, do you think Mezco might beat Classified Series to a classic Storm Shadow punch? I mean, like, it's if Mezco have that lined up and it's their next reveal, like, so there was the Destro, and then I think 4 months later Roadblock's been announced. So if in 4 months time, which is possible, Mezco announce a classic Storm Shadow, it will sell like crazy.
Totally,
because as you say, I mean, it's that juncture between a classic character done in its classic style and done bloody well. It's like if you can slip that in before Hasbro get around to it, the Mezco one becomes the definitive one.
Yeah.
But how playable are these toys?
That's what I don't know yet.
They've got fabric on them, so it's kind of prohibitive. You don't want to be playing with them in the mud and the water and
then exactly, right? So my thing is, like, I think they're going to do it the same way that Super 7 did it. I feel like what's going to happen is you're going to get these characters, and then when they become difficult to get, when Destro becomes difficult to get and Roadblock becomes difficult to get because they've already been released, they're going to announce the Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow like a headline character, and then it's going to make people scramble to try and get the stuff that's come out already, the guys who didn't adopt early. Because that's kind of what Super 7 does. Like, Super 7 sort of did that with the Ninja Turtles. And then once you got one turtle, you kind of feel like, okay, you've got to get the next one. Or if you're just a guy who decided to get Leonardo when he came out, then you sort of realize, oh, wait, maybe I need a Shredder and a Foot Soldier and a Bebop and a Raphael in my life. And there you go. It's the rabbit hole. So I don't know. It's a difficult thing to say. I know for me, I'm a big fan of that kind of toy. When I say that kind of toy, I like the 1/6 scale stuff, the sideshow stuff, quite a lot. And those Mezco 1/12 really, really, really tickle my fancy, man. I mean, they even have a cable that I was sort of half looking at the other day that I thought, hey, that would be cool to have in my collection. But I'm like, no, my money's for G.I. Joe.
Wait, Mezco isn't the same as Amazing Young Maguchi. Never mind.
No, they're not the same as Amazing Young Maguchi.
Right, because I'm thinking of an Amazing Yamaguchi cable, which my buddy Chief reviewed on his channel, and it's stunning, and it has a moving eye and all that bells and whistlage, like a weapon that can be discombobulated and reconfigured in hundreds of ways, but it falls apart if you breathe in it. Like, just too many option parts. No,
I see that.
I want to play with some toys, man. Let me play.
But these guys,
I'm going to share some more images, gents, because there've been in-hand images of Breaker and the Commando Snake Eyes.
I've seen the stuff. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
A toy site called MFCT have them in hand. I don't know if they're dealers or just purely review sites.
Well, they're definitely based in Hong Kong or Malaysia.
Right. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's right. Stan, the toy guy, is in Hong Kong, and he was picking up this stuff, I think. Certainly movie toys as well. Anyways, lovely to see how it all comes together. The pictures are gorgeous, and they're available wherever you're social, I suppose. If you follow MFCT.
I'm sure
I do want to
everybody's
say
picking
that Breaker doesn't look like Breaker.
He looks like
in
Clutch.
any iteration that I've ever seen Breaker. He does kind of give me more of a Clutch vibe, or Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper, as I think I might have said immediately. But it's a pretty common thing to say about this head sculpt. And the other problem is, and I didn't voice this when we did our big chat about these reveals, was the fact that he doesn't come with any comms gear.
Yeah.
So he's Breaker without a backpack that sells his breakerness. So he is very much like the everyman green shirt. Like, it's cute that he can take the minigun out of the sidecar of the vehicle and have that double as a personal weapon, but Breaker would never use that as a personal weapon. It just doesn't look right for him.
I think it'll rattle his teeth right out. Jeez.
Yeah, look, it's a fanciful world, and maybe it's possible that he, in the hands of kids, this is a perfect play pattern. But to anyone who knows Joe, Breaker would look good with an M16, and that's about the extent of it. But how cool is the fact that his helmet... Okay, I say he doesn't come with any communications gear. His helmet does have a microphone sculpted to it. So
well, there we go.
Don't
Any Breaker can wear a helmet like that.
That's his Breakerliness. How cool is the fact that his visor has a kind of an ombre from purple to, I suppose, teal?
Yeah, it's
What
got a
is that?
UV.
Interesting
got a
little
UV
detail.
coating. It's very cool.
Beautiful. That's a nice touch. Bradley Cooper. Then Commander Snake Eyes. Any notes on the in-hand pictures of him? Pretty much what we were expecting.
Pretty much. Although
it's definitely a beefier build than the Henry Golding movie version, which is quite a lean figure comparatively.
Yeah, he actually looks taller even. Is he?
Right.
I think he is taller.
Bigger toy. Yeah,
Or at least
I think
maybe
the movie stuff is a
the
bit
legs
more...
I think the legs are longer.
Yep.
The upper thigh.
The head sculpt, stunning. Once again, love the Commando head sculpt, and it was done justice in this version. But the real prize, ladies and gentlemen, is the most articulate timber you're ever likely to see.
Look at that timber. It's so cool.
So cute.
Cool. Oh, it's howling.
I mean, it's hilarious. He's got tail articulation, presumably. He's got mid-torso articulation. The legs are ankle, knee, mid-thigh, and then
you're right.
top of thigh.
A lot of articulation.
He's got articulated sort of lower neck, upper neck. I mean, the head's presumably on a ball. Must be on a ball because you get two of them.
Hey!
Whoa.
Ride it into battle. It's a mount.
And yes, you could totally put Snake Eyes on top of Timber and have him ride it into battle. Cute.
Cool thing but does Timber fit in the vehicle? That's what we're gonna have to find out later.
Yeah, will Timber fit in the vehicle?
Gents, new shit we can cap off. I know we spoke about Zazel's PlayMotion video up top. You can find it on his channel, but the link will be in the description below. I'd also like to link you to our good friend Gary V's podcast, which I don't think I've actually spoken on before, but it's called the Chaplain Assistance Motor Podcast. How cute is that? Yeah, man. And I will link you to his latest episode in the description below. It's among many things about comic book news, classified news, and then he talks about a rather underappreciated vehicle called the LCV.
Low crawl vehicle.
If you have hungry ears like me, check out the Chaplain Assistance Motorpod. Link will be in the description below.
That's an awesome name for a podcast.
And also, Gary, for doing a podcast. That's great, man.
His first episode was on the Mauler, and man, that guy went into some detail about the Mauler. And I've taken the Mauler apart, but I mean, he took the engine apart. That's gutsy. I mean, yeah, scary.
That's
in fact,
something else.
But I do think Gary's a bit of a motorhead, so I guess he had the right acumen for it. But like I say, I'd never. I'm just glad I got one that worked straight out the gate. Oh. So, gentlemen, it being the Independence Day celebration, we have flags on our minds. And G.I. Joe as a toy line had some of the most glorious livery you're ever likely to find on any toy line. But every once in every while, for a specifically special set, vehicle, or figure, you actually got an included flag. So in this episode, the boys of G.I. Joburg want to give a rundown of their top 5 flags in G.I. Joe. And as always, I'm going to default to Rob to kick us off because I just love hearing your voice. The sweet, sweet tones of my childhood friend. What are your top 5, my friend?
Okay, so the first up, well, I mean, I think I took this in a way like also like flags appearing on figures and on vehicles. So I think probably a very obscure one would probably be my first one, Dusty.
Hey.
Dusty has, I mean, it's not the most conventional flag, but I mean, if you look on his kind of almost his right shoulder here above his pockets, he actually does have an American flag on there. This kind of puts to boot many theories people have of him being French, because of the inclusion of his FAMAS. And yeah, I think I've always thought Dusty is a cool figure. He's a lot of fun. I mean, he's pretty straightforward. He's got a little bit of fabric in there. And he's absolutely amazing.
Now, a detail that perhaps our lone servicemen in the chats might be able to help us is the flag detail on Dusty. And it's rudimentary because it's only done in red. So it misses out, obviously, the blue stripes of the American flag. But is it incorrectly positioned, or should it not be flipped? For servicemen, kind of active service soldiers, isn't the flag reversed? So the stars are on the right.
It is interesting because, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, they would have done that. But I mean, if you look at my second choice, which
is it going to be Duke? Is it going to be Duke?
It is Duke.
Excellent.
Nice.
He actually
Mail away
came
Duke
with a decal. So I mean, there are versions of this character that don't have the flag on, but then you do get a decal with the mail away version. And he probably is the second most patriotic character in all of G.I. Joe.
Behind
he's, the poster child. Well, I'd say Gung Ho, because Gung Ho is the only character in the whole line to actually get into his, actually get into his actual, like dress uniform. But he's definitely the poster boy for, patriotism and the American way, I think, Duke.
I really want to get a custom flag decal for my Duke now. Because, without it, it's still Duke, and he was still released that way. But with it, you just have this added pop of color, which is it's just so attractive, man. It really does add something to the character, and it works, certainly for Duke. And we do have a response from Bart in the chats that says when it's on the right arm, which is how Duke wears it, it should be reversed, so it looks like we are charging forward, and it's waving in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that the reason for it? I suppose. Yeah.
I only know that
Makes
because
sense to me.
of the Sideshow Joes.
Right.
So, yeah, because it's something I looked up because I was like, wait, hold on, what's the point here?
Why is it like this? Why have they all made this mistake?
Well, because the flagpole, the leading edge of a flag will always be the flagpole. It will extend backwards from the flagpole because of the direction of the wind. So yeah, the charging into battle argument makes sense, because if you did have a flag bearer, as you would in days of old, that's if you're looking at the flag from the right side of it, yeah. Oh, sorry, if you're looking at it from the right side of the flag, the stars would be leading.
But Bart also clarifies a little bit more by saying it was only changed like that in the 90s. So before the 90s, this is actually how it was displayed.
Right.
I don't know why they do this, but they just do. So third up, on my top 5 is, so there's a bunch of different Jeeps that have flags on them, but probably my favorite one is the Desert Fox.
What?
Hell yeah, dude. Yes, the Vamp has them on there, but I've always enjoyed the Desert Fox. I mean, I loved it so much I bought Steven 2 of them.
True story.
That's like absolutely amazing. I think this toy is, and he never thanked me by giving me one of them, but that's okay.
Well, Rob, dude.
I've got one right here with me.
You have a third one. Oh my
no, one of the ones that you got me. I brought it on my travels.
And that's fantastic.
I loved it that much.
And I mean, if it's also with like Dusty as well, being this kind of more tan vehicle, and I think I have always preferred this over the Vamp. It feels more heavily armed. It feels better equipped to actually take on heavy terrain.
Oh, it's got adaptability. I might have said this before,
exactly.
but you can pop that turret out quite easily without endangering the teeth, I think, and that hold it in place. And you can make it a troop transport, just an all-purpose Jeep. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's
and the comm section in
piece.
the back really sells it for me. Shit.
It gives more to it. It's not just a vehicle taking you somewhere. It's a piece. Once you get there, you can actually use it for playtime.
It was a good day. Well, it was a good day the day I discovered that it had a communication section back there, because the catalog images never show that off. But it was a much better day the day that those two things arrived. It was Christmas Day. Oh man.
Heck yeah, dude.
Best
times in the world. My fourth one on my list. I think you can't have one of these lists without including these one vehicle that the Sarge has sat in or come with. And even though I really do like the Triple T, I prefer the Warthog.
Excellent.
And I think this is one of the more fun pieces. I mean, it goes into the water, it comes out of the water, it comes with tons of different weapons, a huge amount of space in the back to put characters in. Because I mean, yes, we have the the troop transport, which also has a flag on it, by the way, but it's not as heavily equipped as this one is. And this one will get your troops wherever you want to go, absolutely anywhere,
even the Himalayas.
Exactly.
Yep.
All the way up there. Just take them all the way there.
Very cool feature for the Warthog in Zazel's video. I don't want to give away too much, but yes, the Warthog has a cameo, and we have a very cool kind of interior sequence. How did he do it? How did he get a camera inside?
I was thinking the same thing as well. I was trying to figure it out as I was sitting there, and I still don't have any idea. I mean, maybe everyone watch the video and let us know. Comment on his video, comment on this video or podcast, wherever you find it, and let us know, how do you think he did it? I hope he didn't have to break the toy to do it. And last but not least, it's a bit of a cheat, but it is version 4 Gung Ho, who literally comes with an American flag. He doesn't have one on him, but he comes with one, and I think that is absolutely amazing. And by the way,
why would you say that's a cheat? Isn't that the quintessential version or toy?
Well, yeah, actually, it would be actually. Yeah, it would be actually. It's more in line actually with what you said up front, rather than me twisting the topic.
And if I had guessed up front, this is exactly what I thought you would go with for the top spot. You had this as a child, Rob. It was your Gung Ho. It was your first Gung Ho. It was your only Gung Ho for some time until you got Mega Marines. But that flag accessory, man. What did you do with the flag accessory? Did you ever use it?
I don't think we ever really had much use for it in game. I mean, I'm sure we must have used it a couple of times to kind of like knock out like zombie dudes or something and stab them into the ground. But I don't think it had much use, in actual play, like G.I. Joe play. But like I think
I will bleed on the flag to make sure those stripes stay red.
Yes, I think version 3 was the year before this. The other what are they called again? Battle Core character, but like he came with green top, and I thought the green top wasn't as cool as the red. And yeah, I own this one, so this was always going to be my top pick for patriotic Americans.
The tattoo controversy always seems to follow Gung Ho, and we were oblivious to this at the time because we never had version 1. but his tattoo shrunk for his version 3.
Yeah, and it
And
moved to his
then-
arm.
And then moved to his arm. So yeah, the guy just can't catch a break.
It's like Men in Tights.
Did he ever have an actual tattoo? Was it always just, a fake tattoo?
So
The
fake
controversy widens even deeper. And that was how he was allowed to get whatever bloody Waffen SS tattoo that he's got in his classified version. Oh, geez.
He's a fake. He's a fake.
Not the real gung ho. It's Zartan impersonating him or something.
Could be. You never know which one was the real one. Yeah, so those are my 5 picks for figures with flags. Well, figures and vehicles.
Vehicles with figures, G.I. Joe toys with flags on them or
There
in
we
the
go.
packaging. Does that mean that it's me next?
I wanted to guess one of yours, but it's slipped my mind. Like there was something that you said in a chat, and that made me think, oh, I know where Paul's going with this. I'll see if I can find it. But you can start screen sharing if you like.
I'm gonna share my screen, screen one, share.
You have more than one screen? Jeez.
Yeah, multiple monitors, dude. That's how I stay sane. It's how I watch movies and work at the same time.
Damn.
Yeah, or sometimes, yeah, it's good to have 2 monitors if you do what I do. Okay, let me show. I'm gonna say in no particular order, but I am trying to build up to them. So I'm gonna open up this bad boy.
Oh,
yeah.
There we
yeah.
go.
Modern era. That was what tipped me off. So you are probably going to be pretty modern era heavy, and I wanted to guess that somewhere on your list, yeah, and Bart is taking the piss out of me in the chat saying that I'm about to fall asleep. So before I nod off, I'm going to guess that Keel Hall's figure subscription service figure comes with a flag accessory that has the kind of the USS flag badge on it, which is such a
that's
unique.
cool.
It's pretty unique, and I don't think it appeared anywhere else. It certainly isn't a design that debuted with the USS flag. So, and maybe it fits inside the USS flag's flag mount. Hey, that would have been a missed opportunity if it doesn't. But anyways, so a unique design and only appeared there, and I thought maybe that would make your list, but I guess not.
So I believe they called this Duke, Yojo.com, who lovingly supplied this image, not really, calls this Duke 26. Thank you, Yojo.com, for the image, by the way. I chased this in my early modern era collection of G.I. Joe. I chased this figure because I wanted the flag. I thought it was like such a cool thing to have for my G.I. Joe display, for my modern era G.I. Joe displays. Like I didn't care that much for the Duke figure because it has got a few like failings as a toy, but it was great to have the jump and to have the jetpack, and in my mind that just reminded me of the movie opening, and so yeah, so I happily have this in my modern era collection as one of the part of the centerpiece there, and it was all about this flag, and figured it's worth mentioning if we're talking about flags. Hey, that's a great flag accessory to have, which is also cool because you can plug it into his base, so that's kind of fun. And I
That's
suppose
kind of like the opening of the animated movie version, basically, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, because they did do a figure of that, and he's got a more yellow shirt, and he's got an O face. He's like, but I didn't get that one.
Gross, Paul. You're so gross.
I'm so gross, but I should have gotten that one because at least it's got the camera in that box. But anyway, whatever. This flag, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure it fits into the version 5 his tank as well, if you wanted to do like some kind of alternate G.I. Joe realm thing. Anyway, my next one, surprise, it's Duke again. It's the same one as Rob's. It's version, yeah, it's the mail-away Duke, which when I was talking to Bart, and I was just like, I'm looking for like 1 or 2 extra like figures, G.I. Joes with flags on them. Can't think of any, and he's like the mail-away Duke. It's got like a little flag sticker on, and that and what you guys said earlier about it, it's a nice little pop of color to an otherwise tan, colored figure. So that was cool. Like I didn't even know about that accessory, so that was like kind of a thing. But like now that I know about it, it's pretty rad. So just wanted to throw that in there. Staying with a bit of the vintage line, this bad boy. I love the flag on the ram. I think it's so cool. It's just like there. It's like it's tiny. But what's great about it is when you're looking through a whole bunch of images to try and get like a nice flag design or a nice topic to talk about, it's big enough that it stands out in such a small vehicle, and it's cool. I think that it's there. They could have not had it on there at all, you know. And I think it's a great little pop of color as well, as they would say. And then another one, which I know I'm going to go a little bit over 5. My favorite one is coming up soon. Thought I'd mention this bad boy too, because this is the, if I'm not mistaken, this is the re-release from the 50th anniversary that they did as the con exclusive, and it's cool that it's got a flag on it and not a star or anything like that.
But what is it, Paul? What is it for the listeners who are not looking at the slides?
Vamp Mark II, or technically a brown
Mark II.
It's a brown stinger or a brown vamp if you prefer, but it's the old school vamp. It's the old school classic looking vamp in brown with this great American flag slapped on the back, which is pretty cool.
On its butt.
On its butt there by the petrol tank. So it's pretty good. Nice. Or by the petrol cap. I think it looks great because I love how the G.I. Joe logo also pops out on this, and they didn't go for low visibility. The gray version of this vehicle goes for all low visibility stuff. And I kind of thought it was great that the brown version of this vehicle comes with color stickers. Another one that's worth mentioning, and just I sort of mentioned this briefly before. This is not necessarily my favorite toy with the flag on, but just in general, the Sideshow G.I. Joes introduced me to how the flag is worn on the uniform, because I did some research. Because when you get a Sideshow Joe, you get all of these patches that you can slap on them. And if you're not like familiar with the stuff, it does prompt a little bit of research into it and how to put these tags up on the correct way and how to put the flag on correctly and all that. And that's where I learned about, how the flag, if the guy's on mission, how the flag is blowing in the wind, as we spoke about earlier in the episode. And that was and when Stephen mentioned flags, this was literally the first thing I thought of was, hey, Sideshow figures, because they introduced me to a lot of the concepts. Then another cool one, and perhaps my favorite one of all, is this bad boy. Like, I think this is the first vehicle I can think of that had a flag.
What is it, Paul? Once again, I must ask you.
I will tell the audience. I'm building to it. This is the first vehicle I experienced seeing an American flag on the vehicle, because all the other G.I. Joe vehicles I had until then were European releases, which means they often omitted the flag. And this is the Locust, ladies and gentlemen. And it's got this sweet little colorful United States flag here. And it says United States on the bottom, just in case you don't know who that flag belongs to. And the Locust just wears it proudly.
And G.I. Joe across the canopy, which I thought was always a poor choice because it's right in the pilot's line of vision.
Yeah, well, at least, people know who's killing them, so it's great. But it's just such a cool vehicle as well. And I love talking about this little guy. And it's great to have that sticker on it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all of my flag love for G.I. Joe. And I'm sure there's many more. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's like a Mandela effect thing, but I seem to recall a lot of the modern era Pursuit of Cobra Joes having sort of low visibility flags on their figures. Guys, let me know in the comments below if I'm going crazy. I'm sure there's many of you that are going, duh, Paul, it's on low light. How can you not see it there? Yeah. And also, ladies and gentlemen, it is the regular Locust, the very cool brown kind of metallic Locust, not the creepy over-colored version that comes with the General. Just putting that up.
Creepy.
Or, as I'd like to say, Scoop's Locust.
Yes, it's now my turn, guys. Rounding out our trio, it's S-Jubs.
Rounding out,
with
rounding
his screen. Whoa! Check that amazing parallax.
Anyways, Infinity.
Infinity, that's what it is. What the hell was I saying? Anyways, gentlemen, my favorite flag of all, General Flag. Gotta be. Hey. Nobody mentioned him. He's literally called Flag. And this version, no less. But no, seriously, that's not one of my ones. Yes, courtesy of 3D Joes, they have General Flag. The 1993 version, I might add, in a bit of an interesting crouch. But
Check it out
the
our unboxing. We did a cool unboxing of
yes,
this. Yes.
Paul did an uncarding of General Flag on the flag deck, no less.
Ah.
Search the G.I. Joburg YouTube
Meta.
channel. And okay, you can't have a list of favorite flags without mentioning the Headquarters Command Center from 1983, which bears the G.I. Joe badge, the coat of arms.
There we go. Yeah.
Something that we kind of it kind of got left forgotten. It disappeared. But it has that wonderful kind of roping or rouging or whatever you'd call it on the edge, kind of golden rope detail. And then the badge itself saying G.I. Joe, it has 4 stars. I don't know, maybe representing the 4 service branches. Sorry, Coast Guards. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, top side.
Yeah, that's his Navy, man. The only Coast Guard represented is Skipper, as far Skip A. Stone, aka Cutter, as far as I know. But anyways, so Rob Walsh, yeah, there should be a 5th star, and there shouldn't there. Anyways, something of note that Cujo brought my attention to way back when was the fact that honor is spelt in the British fashion,
way.
the U, the proper way. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It possesses the U. Courage also possesses a U for whatever reason. Should just be
the U in honor, and they put the U in courage, and they put the U in duty.
Well, the U in honor and the O in courage. I suppose you don't. Why do you need the O in courage? Courage. Honor.
My friends, English.
Honor.
I know, right? Honor. And what made this flag kind of a little bit of I suppose, a visual paradox, the fact that on the reverse it's got the United States flag. So, I mean, I suppose you could either play it that it's 2 different flags, or you could play it as this crazy double-stitched flag that has a reversible side. Anyways, they used it again in the Watchtower, which is my second choice. And it's lovely to have that kind of symmetry. I'd say it's probably the best aspect of the Watchtower, which is kind of a bit diminutive for what it needs to be. So it's nice to have this, and it ties it in with the HQ so that, yes, you can have your HQ, you can have 4 watchtowers set up around it, and it all has this flag to kind of tie it together. What were we going to say, Paulie?
I was going to say, like, that flag, I only found out about that other side of it when I got my own G.I. Joe HQ, thanks to Bart. I only, like, I pulled the flag out and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never knew the flag had this. And then I turned it around and I was like, the US flag. And I turned it around again. It was a good 5 minutes of just being surprised. And then I plugged it in the flagpole.
If they did the G.I. Joe flag these days, it would have 6 stars.
Oh, yeah? What service branch?
So there would be, as Bart pointed out, there would be Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force, and Space Force, which is an official branch of the U.S. military.
What? Yeah. Headed by George Bezos to fight Richard Branson and Tesla. Oh, God.
And they did a pretty ill-fated TV series based on that, which is actually getting a 2nd season, strangely enough. Bart also would like me to mention what else came in my HQ.
Ooh.
Some Swedish fish found their way in the file card holder underneath the motor pool. I wonder how they got there.
Rob, do you remember when looking at the Watchtower Battle Station box art, what we joked about what the exchange was happening between Roadblock and Gung Ho?
Oh shit, I don't.
I think it was along the lines of like Roadblock is just spraying and praying, and Gung Ho's like, shit, you just hit that school bus, didn't you? Shit.
This was on our art chat, I'm sure.
Yeah, our box art battle. If you want to track back into the annals of G.I. Joburg history, I think it's probably in the 40s. I'm guessing. Anyways, moving on. You can't not mention the USS flag. It bears a flag as part of its masthead not masthead. It's on
And
the
it's
top of
called
the island.
flag.
And it's called the flag. It isn't a reiter, and it that isn't ostentatious enough to have its own flag design, as we referenced earlier with good old Keel Hall figure subscription service. But it has, I think, for my money, the last appearance of the G.I. Joe coat of arms. It might have appeared later, but this is the only one that springs to mind. I think it kind of disappears shortly after this, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that design found its way onto like party plates and stuff.
But even the appearance
Boo.
of American flags, I mean, at some point kind of tapers off quite dramatically. You'll find
Which is
on
why
many of the
my
earlier
next
vehicles.
pick is
Yeah.
going to be a Cobra vehicle, and I'm trolling everyone, but it's the Cobra Stun, probably the most mythical set of flags in existence in G.I. Joe because of that thin plastic. Retro Blasting did a video on their Stun restoration quite recently. In fact, I think it was last week, and they said, like, just don't bother. Like, there's nowhere to restore broken flags. You just got to resort to repro, and to that end, reproduction flags are excellent. And I have my man Andrew Creech, aka MCDJ ACDC. Thank you, sir. He got me a Stun that didn't have flags. I mean, the original fragments were included very kindly, but he went the extra mile and sourced repro flags, because let me tell you guys, those of you not taking the plunge on repro parts and have a Stun and don't have flags, it completes the look. There's something very special about a Stun that only, like the chef's kiss or the cherry on top, only takes place when you have those flags rooted in there, because it just looks cool. It evokes images of that opening from the movie, you know, the Terradrome, and then you've got the fire bats launching, and then this column of Stuns zipping along the swamp track with their flags kind of blowing in the wind. There's emotion that you get from having these flags attached that is absent without it. The Stun is a weird vehicle, but those flags just give it an air of believability. They give it something tangible, something real world, which, yeah, they're not just antennas, they're flags. And Cobra flags at that.
My goodness, you actually managed to get a Cobra vehicle on this list.
It was the first one that I thought of. I was like, flags. Rare flags, broken flags. Yes, sir. And my favorite instance of a flag appearing on a vehicle, for all the reasons that the Stun gets kind of a speed and a kineticism from its flags, it's also true of the Badger. The Badger without its flag is nothing.
Bad.
It's bad. It's a waste of plastic. That
Not
flag,
even a Joe.
it's not just a flag, it's an antenna. But the flag, it sells the toy. It's so important. And it's also so fiddly. Anyone who knows Badgers knows that the flag is actually just a sticker, a paper sticker, boo, that you fold over and stick to itself. So firstly, if you're buying these on the secondary market, you're dealing with kids who probably screwed this up and kind of misaligned it. And also, age has not been kind to these flags. They've torn, they've got water damage, they've discolored. So once again, hopefully reproductions can save the day. But it's even a thing on the box. They say, distinctive battle banner signals Badger's charge into combat. And it's got an inset photo of the flag. Love that. Love that. I think it really grabbed my attention when I saw this in catalog images. And I'll tell you now, gents, in that particular catalog, the Badger was occupying pictorial space with the General, with the Retaliator, with the Hurricane, with the Septic Tank, with the Locust. The Badger was the one that always found its way onto my Christmas list. And I never got it because it was never available. But
what? Not the septic tank? Shame on you.
I think I already had the septic tank. That was actually, there was a glut of septic tanks hitting South Africa. I think it was just so unsold in the United States, in Europe. Yeah, it just, the crumbs that fell onto the bottom of the table that landed on the South African plate.
most
we're
common
full of
vehicle
septic
you'll-
tanks. Yeah, syphilis.
You'll find it all over the place in South Africa now. I can think of at least 3 places locally where you can get your hands on a septic tank. There's 2 in the same place. So
Grim.
pretty common vehicle, yeah.
Don't need that. All right, gentlemen. I think that concludes our expose on flags in G.I. Joe. But I think we've got some business to take care of, do we not?
That's right. We have a Zartan figure that is trapped in Big Bad Toy Store jail and needs to be needs to be released into somebody's custody, into somebody's collection. And if you guys have been like regular followers of the podcast, and I know you are, we ran a competition where you just basically had to show me some photos of your Dreadnoks, your Zartans. Hey, you could just even have taken photos of your G.I. Joe collection just to motivate why you need a classified Zartan in your collection, and then you would be up for the drawing, for the live draw for that prize. So I'm going to quickly switch over to our special screen, and let's hope this works properly the first time, because it's going to be like silly if it doesn't. Wheel of Fortune using random name picker at namepicker.net. Okay, just
Nice.
please.
Make sure you use a free program on G.I. Joburg. We ain't paying for that shit.
That's right. So as you can
your
see, I have
Patreon
done
dollars go to better uses.
I have done a test already just to see if it works. I don't know what this is, but that's a terrible ad to be showing right now. And I've got our 2. Yes, that's right. Only 2 contestants were brave enough to show us some awesome photos. And I'm actually going to show you the photos right after we do the drawing for the prize, because the photos were just your key to get into the competition. We're not giving you a prize based on how awesome your photos are. But if it did come to like something, maybe I would have put the photos up against each other. I don't know. I just wanted to see cool photos, and it's nice to show off right now. So anyway, we got 2 contestants, Mark and Snowcat Ron. And I don't want to give out their full names because, anyway. So here we go, number of names, 2. I think everybody can see that. There's only going to be 1 winner, okay, that we're going to have. I will filter duplicate names. There aren't any of those. Add contest information to results. Whoops.
Boring. Get on with it, Paul. Come on.
Let's
Who's the
go.
winner?
Pick random names. Ba-da-da! Mark is the winner.
Hey,
Congratulations, Mark. And congratulations to our runner-up, Snowcat Ron. Is there a consolation prize, Paul?
There is going to be a consolation
eternal
prize.
adulation.
There is going to be a consolation prize. It's going to start with, firstly, yay, congratulations again, Mark, for your new Zartan figure. I will contact you for your details to send it to you. And Ron, I just need to confirm your t-shirt size, because then I'm going to send you a Retroburg t-shirt all the way to where you live. So for now, let's check out some of these cool photos. This is one of them that Snowcat Ron sent me. Look at that sexy, sexy Zartan. And I'm so glad I'm part of the Zartan club now, as soon as Bart can ship it off for me, because it's at his house. And then look at this other cool picture. Hey, there's the gang. That's some serious, Zartan family love. Even got Xandar in the same picture. How cool is that? That's my favorite version of Serena, personally. And then we get into Mark's image. And look at this. This dude, Mark, does not mess around. Look at this. He did like a whole diorama. Hey, that's so cool. I'm jealous of this. And he's even got like, he's even got little like Motu figures coming up to go. I mean, this is basically an LSD trip going wrong.
basically everyone wants to beat up on the Dreadnoks.
Basically, I mean, one of these Motu figures is clearly named Rob. So, but yeah, guys,
and what I find so charming about Mark's entry is that this is clearly taking place on either his bed or his day bed. Like, he's got the covers pulled back and he's got this diorama set up, but it's clearly happening on a mattress. So this is how he did it as kids, man. You would play wherever. It's your imagination that would take you places. But yeah, it's definitely Zartan's swamp cabin. The Dreadnoks are getting their asses whooped by some Mega Blocks Motu guys, by the looks of things.
Yeah, Man
Heck
at Arms
yeah.
and the Sorceress, and of course He-Man himself.
If you'd like to take a look at these images, they will be available on G.I. Joburg socials, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So if you are scratching your heads, peer a little closer and you
What
will find them.
happened?
What happened?
Or you can just watch the YouTube version. You know.
Excellent. So yeah, Mark, we will be in touch with you for your details. Snowcat Ron, we'll be in touch with you for your details, and I will send your prizes off ASAP, as in like today. So,
ASAP.
well, no, not as in today, as in like as soon as I have your details.
As soon as
So-
possible.
Radio.
gonna do
Let's
it.
rip open Postbox the Pit. Luke. Luke the Savage has to say the following: do more G.I. Joe fighting.
Oh, I love that exchange. Please
yes.
tell them more about that exchange. It's actually really awesome.
Luke the Savage is a 10-year-old boy who wrote us on the YouTube thread for the previous podcast, the movie podcast, Pitch Idea. Son of a Pitch. Luke, is that not a little bit age restricted? Anyway, he just is a fan of the play motion stuff, as he should be. Come on. It's awesome.
Right.
And he's like, just do more,
Not
please.
kidding.
Like, enough of this talking nonsense.
Okay, then. Definitely.
More
We'll
toys
get on
fighting.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. But he, I mean, we had a wonderful tete-a-tete. He was like, I collect G.I. Joe. He wanted to know how many G.I. Joes I had. I was like, I think about 200 guys. He's like, oh, I want to go count mine right now. And then I think he left the thread and didn't come back to it. Distracted.
Well, he's still
kids.
counting to this
Yeah,
day.
he's still counting to this massive tally of G.I. Joes. My goodness. At that age, spoiled.
Nah.
But yeah, a lovely exchange and lovely to know that YouTube has allowed us to find perhaps a market that we shouldn't have. I mean, the play motion stuff is one thing, but like if young kids are listening to particularly the podcast versions or right the way through,
God.
they might hear some interesting things about.
That's why we kept them separate originally.
Hydro Vipers blow up doll lips.
Oh, no.
All I'm
Zing.
saying is there's a whole bunch of parents out there that are being faced with very uncomfortable questions. Because
or
of
a
our
whole
show.
bunch of parents out there who are like, cool, it's like, you
They're
know,
like, whatever.
the occasional colorful
Even better.
language is
Totally
worth the
okay.
price. Yeah, exactly. Worth the price for keeping our kid occupied for an hour and a half.
There you go.
Go listen to your radio show, Billy. Mom and Dad need some grown-up
Some
time.
alone.
It's those foul-mouthed South Africans.
Yep. And that's me, guys. I'm spent. I'm done. Have we addressed everything we need to address in episode 205?
I think, yeah, just before we go out, I think it's probably worth mentioning. Let's see. So coming up this week is Iconicon. So Iconicon is like a huge, big crossover event between multiple YouTube channels. And we're doing a whole bunch of different things, live streams, interviews, podcasts, and also videos made specifically, to be premiered at the event itself. It's going to be taking place between July 7th and the 11th this year. So it's coming very soon. I mean, today, July 4th, it's 2 days away. If you want information about it, go to iconicononline.com. And there you'll find all of these fantastic bits of information, including the full schedule. There's a ton of things happening every single day. It's got the times in there for you, make it very easy to find them.
But if
there's
you
hundreds.
just want G.I. Joburg stuff, what are we doing, Rob?
Okay, so what is G.I. Joe doing? So first we have Paul on Wednesday. He's going to be talking on the horror films of the 80s.
Yes, with other awesome
debate.
horror bands. Yeah.
Yes, so he's going to be joined by Alex from Infinity Equation, who will be hosting. And the panelists will include Conrad Chambers and Dan Go from Movie Oblite, Melinda Mock from Retro Blasting Paul, and as well as Simple Tricks and Nonsense. And yeah, so you're going to find out a lot about horror films of the 80s and just general discussion of that. So if you're old enough to enjoy horror films, go check that out. Next up,
of course, if you do miss the live events, these will be available like any old YouTube live stream on the host channel.
Once the
But
event
why-
itself is finished, you'll be able to find all of these things wherever they are. But it's always more fun to take part live. I mean, you can chat with us.
Yeah,
hopefully,
exactly.
and
Because-
we can actually discuss this live.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
people, when you guys are live, you'll be able to help swing some of the votes. So
Yeah,
conversation.
maybe change our our opinions. Maybe. So next up, you'll find me on Saturday next week on the Sly versus Arnie, the biggest action star of the 80s panel.
Bath rolls.
And we're going to be talking about who's better, Sly or Arnie. It's hosted by Analog Toys, and panelists are going to include me, Melinda Mock from Retro Blasting, Andre from Midnight's Edge, and Bobby Valor from Infinity Equation, and from a bunch of other things. You'll probably recognize him.
Nyla, we all know Anya is the best.
I'm going to save my opinion until the panel. Right now, I probably say Arnie, but it might change.
It might change by the time we get there, you know. You never know. Things can change.
And then for our Stephen will be taking part in the Great G.I. Joe Comics debate. What are you debating here, Stephen?
So this topic was actually suggested by Matt Swafford of Reclaimers Vintage Toys on Instagram. I initially tabled the idea that maybe we should debate whether or not the Special Missions series by Marvel is in fact superior to ARA 1 to 155.
But that was too easy because, I mean, obviously it is.
I don't know. I think that might have been more contentious. I don't know. They're both pretty contentious. But then Matt shot back and said, well, another very valid approach would be like, out of the 1980s run, was it better in the first half or the second half? So we decided that the dividing line was basically issue 50, the invasion of Springfield. And so everything before that is considered the early phase, and anything after that is the late 80s phase. And it was Michael French from Retro Blasting who put up his head and said, I want to argue for the latter half. I want to argue for the Arashikage stuff, the stuff in Barovia, the Utah Pit, the Cobra Island Civil War. I'm going to say that half of ARA is the superior one. And Matt jumped on with Michael, so they will be representing the latter half. And Tony from Analog Toys was like, nah, I'm an early 80s kid. Forget that stuff. I'm going to argue in favor of the 1 to 50, the issues. And I was like, well, that makes me part of your team because it's going to be an even split. But ironically, it's also a case of like the United States versus Australia. Because Matt and Mike are podcasters from the US, and Tony and myself are what he likes to call plastic Australians, because I'm a South African and by birth he's a Brit. So it's interesting times.
That sounds amazing. And then,
gentlemen,
along with
the outcome will be determined by the live audience. So
well, there we go. So this one you
gotta
definitely
be
need to
there.
tune in for.
Yeah.
So guys, on Thursday, July 8th, 10 p.m. EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. I'm assuming that's what that means. But if you click on to the video right here, there should be a premiere date, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
And then you will be able to
want
see
times that
when
are
it's going to
local
happen.
to you. If you want times that are local to you, just hit the link to the wait page on YouTube, and I'll include the link below. And it will
fantastic.
tell you what time it will be in local time. Hey.
And then last up, for coming from us specifically for this event, we'll be premiering our 1986 Tomahawk review. And that'll be coming up also on July 8th. Before, actually, yeah, you'll be able to watch that and then stay on the G.I. Joe Brick channel and take part in the live talk about the comic books.
I love how Melinda's called it the Tomahawk Thug review, or Tomahawk Thug helicopter review. Like,
hell yeah.
That's not its title, but whatever. It's cute. That's what the sticker says.
Keeping it thug, man. We're keeping it thug.
Totally thug.
Yeah, so that's where we are. Kayaks, Arnie and Stallone, horror films, and the entire event is focused on the 80s. I mean, there's movies, there's music, there's toys, there's talking about, cartoons, Bionic 6. Is it any good? Is it no good? yeah, everything you could possibly want to know about the 80s is all here.
Watch
So
Paul
come and check it out this week.
Watch me defend the Breakfast Club from Michael French.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
most
Paul,
iconic
aren't you our
vehicle from the 80s.
representative? Aren't you our representative for the trivia showdown?
But the 80s one, yeah. That's why.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic. Okay,
yeah.
I've missed one.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. So there is going to be a trivia match. So who knows the most about the 80s? Is it going to be Paul? Is it going to be anyone else? It can't possibly be because
The
Paul
irony
knows
if I win that.
everything.
I'm
Look,
just saying.
yeah, I'm gonna say that Paul is probably the what's it in betting terms? If you're like, if the odds are really stacked against, I mean, he's not the favorite to win. Let's say
No.
that much.
He's the wild card? I don't know.
I'm the
I've never
wild
bet
card.
in my life.
Well, I think he's got the longest odds. So
He's got
if I was,
the long arm. I don't know. Is that it? He's got a long arm.
in any case, it will be a wonderful case of like David versus Goliath, or the underdog coming out on top. If Paul from GI Joburg wins the trivia showdown,
It'll be amazing. The guy from South Africa wins, the discussion of American pop culture from the 80s. I would love
Hey.
this.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Yeah.
But it's a wonderful bit of recognition and shout outs to Melinda from Retro Blasting for tapping us in the beginning. I think her and Tony maybe pulled G.I. Joburg's name out of a random hat. No, let me give them more credits. They approached us and asked us to take part. And Cody, a friend of our channel, said it best when he said something to the effect of, it's like, I'm so proud of my little leaguers finally being called up for the big game. But yeah, I mean, we never do these sorts of things. Cobra Convergence was probably the closest we got to it. But, Iconicon is fun because there are channels that are way larger than our niche. And then there are channels that are around about the same size, if not smaller.
I'm looking forward to this a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope we get to see a lot of people live. And yeah, come and check it out, guys. IconiconOnline.com. The link should be in the description below, wherever you're watching or listening to this.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
And with that, I guess it's time to bid you all adieu. I hope everyone had a fantastic Independence Day weekend. And for the rest of the world, a fantastic weekend.
Yes, enjoy your independence, guys. Long may it last.
And if you're not yet independent, well, I hope you can throw off the shackles of colonial rule eventually.
You got this. I believe in you.
Yo.
Burn.